Welcome to another episode of the Bottom of the Stream Movie Show. My name is Adam.
My name's Nick. I ahoyed so far, it's pushed my chair back.
You've rolled away from the mic. Roll back.
I'm coming back. I'm back.
Cool. Welcome. I've done that bit. How are you, Nick?
Great.
Ready to deal with some old people?
Yes.
Me too. Why are we going to be dealing with old people?
Because Robin, the randomizer, selected for us this week on the Bottom of the Stream Movie Show, which is world famous. A Netflix movie.
Yeah.
A horror movie.
A brand new movie.
A little baby just born movie.
It's the newest movie we've ever done from the big inception of this show. As in from the day it came out to when we're doing it.
Sure.
It's the newest movie we've ever done.
Ironic that it is a little baby movie. Because it's full of old people.
Old people. It is indeed. Do you know why? It's because it's called Old People. It came out on the 5th of October 2022.
Wow.
Yeah, so only, 6 weeks away? It's a 15. It runs for 1 hour and 41 minutes. It's currently rated at 5.0 out of 10 on IMDb and is a Netflix original. 5.0. Thoughts? Dead mid.
Yeah. Dead right in the middle.
Literally couldn't be more in the middle.
No. I don't want to give too much.
No, let's not. Let's not give anything away.
Yes.
Let's just suffice to say, this movie is exactly what I expected it to be, and also exactly not what I expected it to be.
It has some memorable moments in it, and I wonder if they may not be to everyone's taste.
Yeah.
Which may affect the rating
Maybe.
on IMDb,
Plus,
possibly.
A lot of people would watch this type of movie and then think that was rubbish, but not going in expecting it to be what it is. Because this movie is not a 5.0 movie. This should be higher, in my opinion. But we'll get to that.
I don't disagree.
We'll get to that.
With that.
I've written down 4 members of the cast in this movie. However, I'm not quite sure if they're the 4 members of the cast that I should have written down. Because nobody's cast as a name. Or some people are, but not many people are.
Yeah.
So I've got Adolfo Azor, who plays Reinker, who was the main old man.
Oh, was he?
Yes.
Okay.
Because
he hasn't got a name through this.
He's named in the first scene.
Oh, is he?
When the nurse comes in, she's calling for him as Mr. Reinker. And then he comes out, and you'll find out what he does to her.
Okay.
But he's credited as Reinker. There's then a guy in it called Gerard Boss, who is credited as the old man. There's a lot of old men in this film.
Yeah, I mean, okay, fine.
But mainly this movie stars a lady called Melika Foroutan. She plays Ella, who is the main young female character in this film.
She's the mother.
She's the mother of the family.
Yeah.
Yes. She's Iranian.
Oh, really?
This movie's German. We haven't mentioned that.
Yeah.
It's I think it was made in Poland,
Okay.
but it's a German movie. But yeah, she's Iranian. It's actually a 3rd Netflix original that she's been in.
Oh.
So she's a bit of a Netflix babe. She's in The Empress. Have you heard of that? No. Are you laughing at it because I said Netflix babe?
Yeah,
I didn't mean it like babe. She's hot. I meant like baby. Netflix. She loves Netflix. Why are you laughing so much?
I just wasn't expecting you to say like this chick who's in...
No, that's not what I meant.
That's really...
not what I meant.
You meant a Netflix regular.
Yes. That's what... Yeah. Shut up. She's in The Empress. Have you heard of The Empress?
I don't know. I'm completely
She's also
lost.
in Tribes of Europa. Have you heard of that?
I've heard of that.
She's in that.
Okay.
Written and directed by the same guy. Andy Fetchser wrote and directed it. Again, these people are all German, so unless you're well into German cinema, you're not going to know anything about them, I don't think.
Okay.
Do you want to know what IMDb estimates the budget of this movie to be?
Yep.
You know, because IMDb did this thing where they're like estimated budgets, because they don't know, they just guess.
Exactly, yeah.
They've gone for €5.
Oh, excellent.
I assume they mean...
All I'm saying is they made that money go a long way.
If that's true, they've done a really good job here. I assume they're meaning 5 million, but they've written €5. It made me laugh when I read it.
That's brilliant.
Do you have a one-word review of Old People?
Nanageddon. It's...
Why is this film not called that?
Because that's from the Mighty Boosh.
It's still better.
But this is like if someone made that seriously.
Yeah.
That episode.
Nanageddon. Yeah, it is. This is about psychopathic murdering old people. What somebody's had an idea. It's like I'm going to make a zombie movie, but they're all going to be really old, and then it's just developed is what's happening.
It's not a zombie.
It's not a zombie movie, but the original.
Technically, it's like goat. Well, it's not ghost. It's
possession.
possession,
It's possession,
isn't it?
That's progressed. Like somebody's gone. Let's make a zombie movie where all the zombies are old.
Yeah,
and then
It only
the
affects
script
old
has
people.
progressed. Yeah, because it's such a fucking great idea. It really is. I was going to say to you, let's recast a Hollywood version of it, but I think you did that in The Wave this week
When we played our game.
when we played the game in The
Yeah.
Wave. So go back and listen to that because
I'd add a few extras.
go on.
I want Dick Van Dyke in there.
Yeah, King of the Old People.
There's any other big ones we missed. I mean, how old is old? How old do you have to be?
Over 70.
Okay, De Niro.
Yeah. Angela Lansbury would have been great, but she's dead now. Rest in peace.
I mean, do you have to? Does being dead disqualify you?
Well, you can't make a movie if you're dead.
Well, no, I suppose you can't be in it if you're dead, can you?
No.
Yeah, that would be tough. Yeah, she would have been good for that. Judi Dench,
Yeah?
who was in the game, but like, given how gobsmacked how you were at how old she was, maybe she'd be like the queen.
The queen of the old people.
She's always playing queens, so she loves the royals.
Who's like the oldest working person in Hollywood? Who's that guy that was in... He was in like 600 odd movies. He's 90 something.
Oh, James Hong.
James Hong.
Yeah.
Let's have him in there.
Who didn't we have a really old lady? I feel like we've talked about really old ladies before who was in who popped up in one of these movies and it turned out she'd been working for
Oh. Yes.
We talked about her. I can't remember her name.
Wasn't the lady from the Demon Barber of Fleet Street still alive? I'm working.
It was the main lady's like handmaid.
Yeah.
I'd seen her in a movie.
Ah, okay.
Like 60 years late after that movie.
Right. Yeah, because that movie's like 89 years old. There's not going to be any cast members still going.
I mean, according to, I'm sure a completely reputable website, oldest.org, they have a list of the top 10 oldest living actors.
Okay.
Updated 2022. Shall I just go straight to the top?
Yeah. Who's the oldest?
We're absolutely winging this. Because usually we plan our...
Yeah. We never plan anything.
Oh, it's already out of date. I know one of these is dead.
Oh, okay.
Leslie Phillips. He died like last week, didn't he? Or a couple of weeks ago.
He?
Yeah.
Leslie Phillips died. I don't
Yeah.
remember reading that.
He was 98.
Oh, okay.
That says as of October. That was last month.
Wow. He must have died just after they released that.
Okay, we go straight to number one. As of October 2022, it's a lady.
Yeah.
Named Branka Veselinovic,
Okay.
who is an Austrian actress who has been working since 1938.
Oh my goodness.
In 1938, she was 20.
What?
She was born in 1918. She is 104 years old.
Wow. Is she still working? Or we can bring her
yes.
out of retirement.
Yeah.
Is there anybody on that list that we would have heard of? Who wasn't like random and
let me
Austrian?
have a quick look. Mike Nussbaum, who was in Field of Dreams and Men in Black.
Oh, yeah.
Is 98 years old.
Okay. Let's get him in.
He won awards in Glengarry Glen Ross in the 80s. I've seen that movie. Who else have we got? Leslie Phillips is number 4.
Wow.
Who just died.
Just died a couple of weeks ago.
There you go. He was in Carry-Ons.
He was, yeah. When you said Leslie Phillips and I said I didn't know he died, I thought you meant Leslie Nielsen.
Oh. Leslie Nielsen was dead like 10 years.
Yeah.
Eva Marie Saint.
Okay.
Still alive. She was famous for... She was in On the Waterfront with Marlon Brando. She is 98 as well.
Cool. Shall we start talking about this movie now?
Yeah, probably should, shouldn't we? So they'd all be great in this remake.
They would, yeah. Let's
put them all in this.
Let's get Hollywood on this. Hollywood. Remember like when they made Red?
Yes.
And it was like a a band of old people. Let's do that. There's an ensemble cast of old people and make this movie.
Yeah.
Where does this film start, Nick?
Second week in a row. I've got to read some words.
There's words on the screen.
Yeah.
I've got them. Do you want them?
But I like these words because one of the words in these words was the word "your."
Yes,
as
indeed.
in days of.
Do you want me to read them out?
Yes, please.
This is the only sort of exposition you're getting in this entire movie, so pay attention right now. In times of yore, an avenging spirit was thought to inhabit old people. A dark power that took possession of the frailest members of the clan and drove them into a seemingly blind rage. That is your entire exposition for this movie.
Yeah.
You're not told what it is. You're not told where it's come from. You are not told any sort of history of what it does or why it's doing it. That you just have to accept that as fact, which I am fully okay with. I'm prepared to do that. I have no issue with it. When we cut into the actual movie from the words on the screen, we meet an old man who is listening to the weather report on his little radio.
I think he'd call it a wireless.
I probably would call it a wireless, wouldn't he?
It's fucking pissing it down.
It's raining like hell.
But the weather is saying, get ready, people, because it is going to be hot, hot, hot.
It is going to be hot, hot, hot. But at the minute, it is not.
Indeed. And he's in his flat.
Yeah, little
Which, like
apartment block.
Yeah, but I get the feeling this is like a self-sufficient.
Yeah, like
older
not an old
person's
person's home,
apartment.
but like where old people live.
And outside a car arrives, and it's a girl in a scrubs. It's a carer.
Yeah, she's a carer. She's
visiting.
Yeah, she's come to make sure he's okay, get him his dinner, whatever.
As she says, I think on the phone, "Oh yeah, I'm back at wherever. The whole building is full of old people."
So she goes up to his door. She notices when she gets there, his door is open.
Yeah,
which is worrying for her. But she walks in anyway. She puts some gloves on, and he's not there. She's checking all the rooms. She's shouting his name, which is Rainker, Mr. Rainker, Mr. Rainker. Where are you? And he isn't there. It doesn't look like he's been there for a long time. The place is a mess. It doesn't look like anybody's
finds
been there
like
for a
a shrine.
Yes, she does.
Like
a little
creepy
shrine.
old shrine with like ye olde paintings of like an old person reaching out to a young person.
Yeah. Do you think we're supposed to think that this guy has summoned this spirit and caused all this mess?
I think he has. Yeah,
he's in charge, definitely.
My reading is that he is deliberately, because he is, whether he's suffering or whatever in his old age, he's deliberately called upon this
demon or spirit or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, why is there a shrine with all this?
Yeah.
But because it's literally an old spell book. It looks like.
Yeah, it looks like it
on the table.
Eventually, well, she's in the kitchen at this point. Everything's gone mouldy in the kitchen. It's like she's not a regular nurse, I don't think. No. There doesn't look like anybody's been there for a long time. So she's in the kitchen. He walks in behind her, and he's just saying help over and over again.
Yeah,
he wants help, and then suddenly, when she goes to help him, he knocks her out with his oxygen bottle.
Yeah, he does.
Because he's got a face mask on, and then he bludgeons her to death with it.
And I just want to point out, I like watching these movies with a subtitle.
Yeah.
And this is German, so it has subtitles anyway.
Yes.
But as in subtitles for like sound effects and stuff, because you always get some good descriptions a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Do you want to know how the battering of this woman by this old man is described in a subtitle?
Yes, please.
So as he beats her with this oxygen bottle, all you get on the subtitle is meaty squelch.
It was a meaty squelch, though. I wish the dub of this film, it wasn't that bad. It was all right. It was. Cool. I've seen worse dubbings, put it that way. He murders her with his oxygen bottle. Then he goes to the window, and he opens the window and leans out and starts howling.
Yeah, like a
guttural
animalistic
wolvy howl.
Yeah.
And the camera kind of pans away from his window, and you can hear lots of people howling, and the whole city's on fire.
Yeah, like society is breaking down.
Society is breaking down. We're supposed to believe that this is affecting, I believe, the whole world, as we find out later on. The old people have taken over and destroyed the world. There's like fires, and you can hear sirens going off. It's things are not good in the world.
Yeah, and I wasn't quite sure on the placement of this. So was that the future, or was this the future that we're going into now?
I think,
was
yeah,
it
I don't.
concurrent?
I think so. I think he kind of because he was in a home.
Yeah, so I wasn't sure how the timeline played out.
No, unless
No,
it doesn't matter. It's unimportant.
It's
I'm
not
assu-
important. It's not
I'm
important.
assuming that the main guy is this same. It was this same guy.
I
Wasn't
thought so. It was
I
very
did as
dark.
well, and
You've got
he is credited
nice
as
TV.
the same name. So we're going to say it was. I'm questioning myself now. Then somebody does like a voiceover straight out. This hits the title card from that point. Somebody does a voiceover and it says, "Looking back now, nobody knows what happened on those last hot days of summer."
Yeah.
So maybe we
So it
are
must have
looking
been
back.
before.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, it must have been. And we meet a family in a car. So we've got a mother and a son and a daughter. Teenage daughter, preteen son,
Yeah.
mother.
Yes.
That's the setup. And they get a call from an auntie. They're heading to the auntie's house because she's about to get married.
Yes. And straight away, we get in this these couple of conversations in the car, we're getting the setup, we're getting the context. It's done really well, and it's done really efficiently. We find out teenage daughter is upset with mum. They're a broken family. Mum left dad.
Yes.
And she's angry about it.
But angry, yeah, as teenage girls are.
But they are going back to visit this family.
Yes.
Because they're all still in this country village.
Yeah, and the mother's left this village.
Yeah.
With the two children. So they've moved to the city, but they're heading back to the country. They're going to stay with the auntie in the family home.
Yeah.
And
It's a big farm.
yeah, it's big.
Yeah.
Yeah, big family farmhouse. And the son of the family is especially excited to see his grandpa, who he hasn't seen him for ages.
Yeah.
And just as he mentions the grandpa, the phone goes dead, which was quite ominous, but didn't come to anything. And then we got to a farm. It's a different farm.
Yeah.
This lady we meet is called Kim. She has to go to work, and her husband says bye to her, basically. And
Yes.
we later find out that this is the father
Of the kids.
and his new girlfriend.
Yeah.
She's a nurse. She works in a nursing home. So then the family arrive at the farmhouse. This is where we find out the assistant's getting married, and this is their parents. This is their parents' house and where they grew up. This is where these two sisters
It is.
grew
It's
up.
the old family homestead.
Yep. And the son reveals that he is aware of a secret underground tunnel that links this house to a cottage that's also in the grounds of this farm.
Yeah. I wonder if that'll come up later.
I've actually written that exact same thing. I've written, seems relevant news. Because he just came out of it out of nowhere. And it's like, okay, we're going to meet this tunnel at some point later on. And Ella, who is the mother, she finds out at this point that her daddy's actually in a retirement home.
Yeah.
Which she wasn't aware of.
No, her sister basically says, "Oh, well, he didn't want you to know."
Yeah.
You know, because the last time you saw him, you fell out.
Yeah, and you kind of haven't stayed in touch since she
Yeah.
left. I don't know. It doesn't really explain how long it's been since she left, but
No.
it seems like some time had passed, maybe some years. We also find out at this point that the young boy is called Noah. He needs an inhaler. Again, seems like relevant information for
Yes.
later on.
Could be. Could be.
And I've written here, this is all just setting up info for later. Daughter has a male friend. Daughter's what, 15, 16?
I would say so.
Laura was
Yeah.
her name.
Yeah.
She has a male friend who lives in this town that she's obviously not seen for a while, called
Sure.
Alex. And they go on a boat trip together.
They do.
They kind of rekindle their, I don't want to say romance, but
I wouldn't say summer
there's some
romance.
chemistry between them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the family sort of say to her later on, "Oh, you've seen your boyfriend."
Boy,
so
yeah.
it's like,
Yeah. Because she hasn't seen him for
She's
a while.
not
'Cause she's
sneaking
been
out,
forced
yeah.
to move away from this town. Then the dad shows up. Lucas, I think was the dad's name.
yes.
I'm good with names on this episode.
Yeah.
I'm happy with myself. He shows up because he's been also invited to this wedding, I guess. And Ella,
It's like the whole town has been. This is a big event.
This is a big
in
event.
this village, isn't it?
Yes. Ella does not like the dad. This is made very clear straight away. Ella and Lucas are not on friendly terms.
No.
She's very frosty with him. It's a very awkward conversation when they have to speak to each other. And this is where we find out that his wife works at the retirement home where her dad is.
Correct.
And she knows this, because again, it's a small town. She knows this girl anyway, this lady anyway.
Yes, and they cross paths, and Lucas says to Ella, "Oh, you're going to see Grandpa at home. Say hello to
Say
Kim."
hello to Kim. So they do. They
Your
go.
replacement.
Yes, new you. So they do. They decide to go and visit Grandpa at this retirement home. So Ella, her sister, and Noah, the young boy,
Yep.
go to visit the grandpa in the retirement home. And this town is run down.
Sure. Time's left it behind.
Time has left this town behind. There's no industry there anymore, somebody says at some point. And the town's got old, basically. Everybody who lives there is now old. And this is not good in a film about psychotic old people. When they get to the old people's home or the retirement home...
It's not really. It looks like... I know this is to build atmosphere and stuff. And it works well. It's not an old people's home as you know it.
No.
It's like, let's use this abandoned hospital.
It does look like an abandoned hospital. I think that's probably exactly
maybe
what
it is.
it does look like an abandoned hospital.
This place is rotting.
Yeah, it's not... It's very underfunded, shall we say. When they go in, it looks like it's been completely deserted. There's nobody at the front desk. There's rotten food all over the floor. Nothing's clean. There's weeds growing up outside. It looks like nobody's been there for years. And they're like, what the hell's going on? And then we meet, there's only old people there. There's no,
and I think
there's many staff.
That's what I find strange, because they were all surprised.
Yeah.
But even Ella's sister was surprised. And I'm like, well, from what we've already been told, you come here to visit Grandpa.
Yeah,
but I can
does
go
she?
with, no, it's artistic logic.
She said she did, but does she? Is the question I think they were asking. And there's only old people. We haven't seen any staff yet. There are some old people like just sitting around doing nothing.
And they're all creepy as fuck.
Yes, they are.
And that is a conscious choice that this movie and its director make.
Yeah.
They're zoned out. They're creeping around corners, peering around doors, shadows following these people.
They've been abandoned by the world, and they're just being weird. Yeah. One old man approaches Ella, and he calls by a different name, and he's like, "Save me from this." And she's like, "I don't think I am who you think I am."
Sure.
And it's all very creepy and weird.
There's an old woman in a bed.
Yeah,
lying there.
There's an old woman in a shower that's naked.
Like in The Shining.
Yeah. And they manage to eventually. They do track down Kim. There's 2 members of staff working, I think, at this point, and they do track down Kim. And she says, "Look, we're completely understaffed. We've got no staff. We've got no funding, and the people in this town keep getting older. And they're all moving in here now. And there's too many. There's not enough staff and too many old people.
And some of them." Some of them are even restrained.
Yeah, some of them are having to be tied down because they get out and there's nobody to stop them getting out, basically.
Or they're a danger to themselves or the other residents.
Yeah. Noah then wanders off on his own.
Well, he follows the creepy man.
Yeah, he does. But nobody notices that he's wandered off on his own, or they allow him to wander off on his own. And eventually...
I put, he walks through a hallway of death.
Yeah, or very near death.
Because it's just all these silent old people staring at him.
Yeah,
pointing.
it is creepy.
He's beckoned by who I've called lead creepy man, but it's this Reinker guy.
And eventually, he does find what he's looking for. He finds his grandpa. The grandpa obviously doesn't recognise him.
No, he's not.
Kind of just is non-responsive, sitting in a chair in this room, just gazes out. I've written out the scary old people everywhere. And Ella comes in. She finds Noah. She finds her dad, and she's like, "I should have come here a long time ago."
Yeah,
and she kind of regretting her life choices.
Doesn't get a response from her father.
No, she doesn't.
And then I didn't know how to describe this in my notes, but Reinker is sat at the back of this room.
Yeah,
and I just put he eats cake at Noah.
He does. He threateningly eats cake at the child.
Yeah,
he just kind of stares him down whilst eating this cake.
Yeah,
it's very creepy.
Then all sort of. His mouth overflows with cake.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
And just dribbles down his chin.
Yeah.
What a presence this guy was.
He's great, isn't he? He's from looking at his IMDb, he's quite a famous German actor. He's been in loads of stuff. He was born in 1945, so that makes him, nearly 80? Yeah. He looked nearly 280. They've either made him up to look really old or he looks really old anyway. But yeah, he has no lines really in this film. We call it a couple later on.
It's a few words.
Yeah, but his screen presence is intimidating for such an old man. Yeah. We cut back then to Laura and Alex. I think they'd gone to I've written a deserted island because they'd landed their boat somewhere, but I don't know if it was an island now because
whether it was
she has to run there later on.
They are. Oh yeah, they do. That's true.
So
quite weird. So they
made it out like they must have gone around a coast or a bay or something, but it made it out like it was a deserted island. And Alex is showing them this monument to the ghosts of their ancestors that apparently has been there for 2,000 years.
Yeah, it's a creepy skull monument in
Yeah.
the middle of a clearing in the woods.
And he kind of takes some of the grass away from it, and right down at the bottom of this monument, there it says E and L in a heart, which is obviously Ella and Lucas, their mum and dad,
Yeah.
graffitied this 2,000-year-old monument when they were children or teen lovers. So she's quite happy with that. She's like, oh, they did love each other at one point. Alex says he's ready to leave. He's done with this shitty town, is what he calls it. I'm done with this shitty town. He wants to go back to the city with her. He wants to live with Laura, who's 15 maybe. He's not much older himself.
No, he's a similar age, yeah. I would say.
Then this wedding that we've been building up to all the way through this film briefly happens.
It does. It
half
kind of
a
happens
scene
in the background.
Yeah, we've been building it up for so long that it's quite surprising when we don't see any of it. So it basically just cuts straight to the party that's happening afterwards, and all the old people are kind of just watching.
They're gathered like moths to a flame.
Yeah,
around
some
the
are
window.
Some are just around the windows.
They can hear the music floating through the trees.
But there's also people who live in the town are just standing at windows watching.
So it's not just the people in the old people's home. It's
the people who
anyone
live
who's
still
old.
Yeah, it's kind of just watching.
Yeah,
so strange.
And it's really worth pointing out, if you've not watched this movie, this is. Every time you see a group of older people together, it's really the sense of foreboding. It's very atmospheric.
Yeah, definitely. Movie. It's very atmospheric. And it's not treated with any sort of...
The creep factor is high.
Yeah, because it feels like this should be like tongue-in-cheek. This is quite a funny concept. But it's not treated like that at all. It's not played like this. These old people are scary, man. Some of them are, anyway.
Yeah.
It's creepy. It's definitely creepy. Ella and Lucas at the wedding reception have another awkward chat. But then Noah and Laura...
It's just to basically show us that the crux of their relationship breaking down was that he wanted to stay in the country.
Yeah. She needed to
with
get
the
out.
family farm, I guess. Yeah. And she, as Alex put it in the previous scene, wanted to get out of this shithole.
Yeah. Basically. Then Noah and Laura grab them because they have a family song.
Yeah.
And
this is the song we dance to.
Yeah, this is the song we dance to as a family. And they do. They dance to this song as a family. Nobody else is really dancing either. It's really weird.
Yeah.
But Kim is there also.
She's like, that's not my family.
That's not my family, but that is my boyfriend.
Yeah.
And she is kind of staring daggers through them. She does not look happy. So and Ella notices this and she kind of breaks this dance
she just
up.
Stops when she's...
Yeah, she's like, okay. Kim's not happy.
Yeah.
Lucas goes over to her and they kind of have a bit of a chat and it's all sorted out. Back at the old people's home, the old people, like you said a minute ago, are gathered around a window because they can hear the sound of the party.
Yeah.
And it's like they're like you said, moths to a flame. It's really weird. And a male nurse comes in. We meet a male nurse for the first time.
I know this is only a minor character, so this is very much a nitpick. But this guy was very tropey, this night porter. He was like Ben Stiller in Happy Gilmore. Like, shut up, Grandma!
Yeah, he doesn't...
You can't have any fun.
The stereotypical nurse in an old people's home who doesn't like old people. Yeah, he's like... He tells them to basically get away from the window.
Enjoying the music, are you?
Yes.
Well, I'll just shut this window.
And then he's like, time for bed, old people.
Yeah.
I think that's what he says. And then a female nurse is also on duty, and she's kind of walking towards the basement because she can hear crying.
Yeah, there's
so she can hear like a noise coming from the basement. So she goes downstairs, and when she gets down there, there's a...
I didn't like this. I liked it because I didn't like it.
It was weird, wasn't it?
Creeps me out.
So she gets down there. It's the dark basement. There's a boiler. It's a boiler room.
Yeah.
There's electrical cables and stuff. And there's an old lady sitting down there in a nightie with an electric cable in her mouth.
She's like gnawing at it like a rat.
Yeah, like she's a rat. And eventually, she bites through it.
Yeah.
And electrocutes herself. While this female nurse is watching and trying to beg her to stop biting on the electrical cable. And all the lights go out in the whole place. And this old lady, obviously...
This old lady is like suddenly deep fried and crispy.
Yeah, it doesn't end well for this old lady. And all the lights go out. So we're upstairs where this male nurse has just antagonised all the other old people. The room's now pitch dark.
Yeah.
And another old lady approaches him and she's like, "Can we please stay up?" Like,
Yes.
to him. And I was like, this is horrible at this point. I'm like, I don't like this. And then she bites him.
She does.
She grabs him and bites him. And so he throws her off and she ends up going backwards through a glass table.
It's a movie table.
It's a movie table.
Always
Very
one of
much
these
so.
around.
And then they all kind of
They pick up shards
pick
of
up
glass.
shards of glass in their bare hands and attack him with it.
Yeah.
And he can't fight them off. This is a zombie movie scene. There's so many. He's being overpowered by the numbers more than the
They
strength.
notably do not kill him.
No, they don't.
And
They
again,
stab him in strategic places.
the sound
Yeah.
is horrific. You know, there's gurgling. He's drowning.
Yeah.
And they drag him off.
Yeah, they just whatever they're going to do to
Whatever they
him.
do with it.
Rainker then finds this female. Well, the female one, she's kind of come up from the basement and
Yeah.
she's getting surrounded by loads of weird, crazy old people as well. And then Raker finds her and he clubs her to death with a pipe. He just batters her on the head with it and kills her. And then they kind of drag the bodies away, never to be seen again.
Yeah.
We never see these two people again. And Reinker's he's kind of walking around the place like he's a zombie, but he's not. He's completely he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's in charge of this thing. And he finds the wedding invite that's been stuck on the window that Kim obviously was Kim's. And then he just leaves. He goes out. He walks out the front door of the hospital, and it's a great shot.
Oh, yeah.
Of him-
It pans up
It
from
pans
floor
up from the
level.
floor,
Up
and
the
you
stairs.
see him standing in the doorway of this
Yeah.
hospital. And then he kind of just starts howling again, doesn't he?
Yeah.
It's really strange.
Obviously, look, this scene where they take out the nurses
Yeah.
was,
Proper horror movie shit.
I thought it was excellent. It was unnerving.
It really was.
It was brutal. It was gory. But for me, it was all in the anticipation for
Yeah.
me.
Because you knew it was coming.
You're like, it's starting here.
Yeah.
And you know, we've said before, if I'm going to like a horror film, it is that sort. I am more into like the creepiness, the forebodingness,
Same.
rather than the gore and
Yeah.
the jumpiness of it. And look,
There's a bit
I
of gore
thought-
in this film,
I
but
thought it was
there's not an awful lot of it.
No.
But there is a bit of it.
no,
but that's
we'll
not.
get
this
to it
isn't-
soon. There's quite a bit of fluid that's not necessarily blood.
Yeah, that's true. Right, where do we get to? Oh, just as we cut away from that scene, the party's kind of breaking up back at the house. People are leaving. People are getting in their cars and going home. It's raining.
Yeah.
Even though it said it was going to be a lovely day. It
Yeah, but
starts
summer
raining,
storms.
Yeah.
End of a
it
hot
happens,
day.
doesn't it? And eventually everybody's gone except for Ella and the two kids. They're staying at the house. The newlywed couple are staying in the cottage that's on the property.
Yeah, they're kind of like, I wouldn't say summer house, but that's doing it a disservice.
Yeah, it's
like
a full-on
beautiful
house. Yeah.
tree house cottage
Yeah.
type thing.
Which we found out earlier is obviously linked to the other house by an underground tunnel.
Yep, remember that.
So the bride and groom are staying in there for their wedding night, and the family are staying in the main house.
Ella puts Noah to bed.
Yeah,
We see Grandpa, he's in bed.
yeah,
And yes, as you say, Sana is Ella's sister, and Malik, her new husband, they are off to the guest house
absolutely.
to do what newlyweds do.
We briefly have a scene with Kim and Lucas where she questions his love for Ella. Do you still love him? And do you still love her? And she
Yeah.
says, and he says no. It's over. And I've written here, the newlyweds go back to the cottage. Cannon fodder, these two, because they've barely been in it. And I'm like, these two are going to die very soon.
They put on sexy music. They're going to consummate that shit.
And they do. They consummate the shit out of that. Whilst they're in the middle of consummation, the front door opens slowly. And as the front door opens, it blows all the candles out.
Yeah.
Which is a really nice shot as well. I really like that. And it's Ranker.
Right, I'm going to praise this scene as well.
Go on.
Because it again, it's all about the build-up and the atmosphere. It really slows down here. And he's a possessed old person.
Yeah.
But he is still old.
Yeah.
So he moves slowly.
Yeah.
He puts his hand on an axe.
I loved that.
I thought it was a great touch. And you're like, right, he's going to
Pick up an axe. Yeah.
He walks past it.
Can't lift it.
Takes his shoes off.
Yeah. And his socks.
Takes his socks off
See his
very
manky
slowly
feet.
because he's an old person. He's got horrible feet.
Yeah.
And he unscrews from like an old bedstead
Yeah.
a heavy
Bed knob.
bed knob.
It's the only word for it. It's a round gold cylindrical ball
Yeah.
of weighty. It seems weighty.
Yeah.
and he puts it in his sock.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy
That's
shit.
more vicious than an axe.
Definitely. And he wouldn't be able to swing an axe, and he knows this. And I was like, okay, this film's going places now. I'm intrigued. But
the details, like when he takes that sock off and the flesh is falling off his foot.
Yeah, it's got a proper old person's foot.
Yeah, and it's all gloopy and...
Yeah. Briefly, we go back to Lucas and Kim. They've just got home to wherever they live.
It's the next farm.
Along. I've written it's frosty between the two of them. They're not in a good way.
Yeah.
They've obviously had an argument.
The rain's kind of stopped and you got like the mist coming up off the ground.
I feel like it's quite late at night. Yeah. And when they get out of the car, there's an old man standing in a field watching them.
Yeah, he's in his like nightgown, one of these hospital gowns done up at the back.
And Lucas even says to it, "Is he from the home?" And Kim's like, "Yeah, I recognise that guy."
Yeah.
And then he just walks off, and they let him go because all of a sudden they hear an explosion in the distance, and like sirens and noises and screaming. They can hear screaming, so they're like, "Shit, something's just gone down. We need to get back in our car."
In the village.
We need to get back in our car and go and help because she's a nurse.
Yeah.
Then we cut back to the bridal suite. And what was the bride's name? I didn't catch her name. Sana. She kind of opens her eyes mid-naughty and looks up and she makes eye contact with Reinke.
Yeah.
And he just swings that sock and batters the groom's head in.
Yeah. He's like, the groom's down south.
Yeah.
And he just gets...
He didn't know much about what was happening to him at this point. He gets his head bludgeoned in by this ball in a sock.
There's more meaty squelching.
Yeah. She gets up screaming, runs to the top of the stairs, and it might be my favourite shot of the movie. He just launches this ball in a sock at her head. It clocks her on the head and she falls down the stairs.
And it's the fall down the stairs that does for her.
Yeah.
Because again, I'll praise the sound effects again. There's some horrible cracking noises as she hits the bottom of the stairs. She goes flying down these stairs.
She isn't dead when she gets to the bottom.
But she ain't moving.
She's not in a good way. So he makes his way down to her.
I just missed one. Does it happen now? Yeah, no, we just missed it. So after he's beaten Malik to death as well, he kind of looms over her in bed and like spews.
Oh yeah, he throws up on her.
Gunk all over her.
Yeah, it was rank.
Oh, it's vile.
It's rank. That's what gets her up and screaming.
Yeah.
She runs to the top of the stairs. He throws the ball at her. Great shot, straight to the middle of the forehead. She goes down the stairs. He follows her down the stairs, finishes her off in a murdery way. He breaks her neck. Yeah. Well, he kind of puts his hand over her mouth and
there's another
chokes her out, and there's another crack.
But again, that's not the worst of it. He then drags the body back upstairs.
Yeah, even though we've just been shown that he hasn't really got a lot of strength, he does manage to drag her body back upstairs. But yeah, we don't know what he's going to do to her.
This was horrific.
It was so scary. It was like, okay, this old man is terrifying. The commotion wakes up Ella back in the main house.
Yeah.
The lights are not working. Because this is a horror movie. Lights never work in a horror movie. She goes out to see if she can figure out what's going on. She heads downstairs. She checks on Noah. Noah's in bed. She checks on Laura. Laura's not in bed.
Yeah.
So she heads downstairs and she's downstairs. Laura's just kind of looking out the window downstairs.
She's like
frozen. And she's like, there's lots of old people outside.
Yeah.
And Ella's like, what?
Even that line gave me the chill.
Yeah, it did.
By this point, I'm just like,
I am fully in on this.
Yeah,
but this is actually a lot scarier than I was expecting. I was expecting a lot more tongue-in-cheek, a lot more humour in this film.
No,
it's not.
They've gone for
full-on creepy old people.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, there's a lot of old people outside. And Ella's like, what? What do you mean? And she's like, do you mean people from the party? And Laura's like, no, have a look outside. And she does. But when Ella looks out, she can't really see anybody.
No.
So everybody's kind of disappeared. And
you've still got this mist sort of rising off the fields as well.
Yeah.
So
I feel like it's like pre-dawn. It feels like it's probably 4 o'clock in the morning.
Just remember, so you've had a hot day, then you've had this rainstorm, and it feels like it's still warm, and you've got all this.
It's really ominous
mist rising,
and then a piano starts playing from behind them.
A single note
over
and over.
They look around, and it's their grandpa.
Yeah, he's out of bed,
and he's out of bed. He's sitting at the piano, and then he starts playing some ominous music.
Yeah,
horror movie music, I would call it. And yeah, that was really creepy.
Sure.
So I'm like, this feels like you kind of got the gauge of the grandpa character at this point, because you're like, he feels like he's possessed too, but he doesn't want to harm his family.
got the feeling that he was, because he can't talk.
Yeah.
He's trying to
warn
them that something was happening.
Because he knew something was happening. Yeah. Kim and Lucas have headed back into town and have found a car accident.
There's corpses.
There's bodies everywhere. There's smashed up cars everywhere. And then Lucas
sees a murder.
He sees a murder happen by a load of old people. Yeah. And they start running at him. Like full on running, one of them is. So he dives back in the car, tells Kim to get back in the car, and they speed off. Grandpa stops playing the piano, and the minute he stops playing the piano, there's a knock at the door.
Yeah.
And when Ella answers it, there's nobody there. But she goes outside. They go out to investigate. Her and Laura both go out. And it's the old man from earlier who thought she was somebody else who was saying, save me.
Yeah.
He's just standing in the garden. And Ella goes
He's got a Bible.
He's got a Bible. Ella's like, well, this is weird. I'm going to see if he's okay. Because she doesn't know what's going on. Nobody knows what's going on at this point. Laura, meanwhile, she goes to look the other way. And she finds an old lady in a bush. And she's, again, very the old ladies in this film are like rats.
She, like Exorcist style, kind of is on all fours,
crawls backwards,
runs off into the shrubbery.
Like a rat.
Yeah.
The old ladies are like rats in this movie. It's weird.
And the old guy rips a page out of this Bible, gives it to Hannah, and it says on it, "Thou shalt honour the old."
Yeah. Creepy.
Yeah.
So Ella says, Laura, go and lock yourself in the house.
Yeah.
Get Noah. Make sure he's okay.
Lock all the doors.
Lock all the doors. I'm going to nip over to the cottage, make sure these two are all right.
Yeah.
And we'll go from there. So Ella bombs it over the garden to the cottage. When we briefly cut back to the grandpa, he picks up a family photo and he's kind of looking at it as if to say, I'm going to save these people.
Yeah.
We feel like
there's a glimmer,
you've got to
some
have,
sort of glimmer,
of something in his eyes.
There,
You've got to have the old person who's good, I guess.
Yeah, or immune to this.
I don't think he's immune to it. I think he's just fighting it.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think that's what they're trying to tell you. Ella goes to the cottage, notices the doors are locked, heads upstairs, and opens. It's like
we didn't really see this detail.
No,
the
we
first
didn't.
time around, but now we're seeing it as she enters the room. It's a 4-poster bed.
Yeah, there's 4-poster bed.
All the curtains are drawn.
Yes, she doesn't shout them because they could have been doing it for all she knew. She didn't shout them to say,
but it was
hello.
definitely quiet in there.
Hello. Yeah, it was definitely quiet. She pulls back the curtain and finds the bodies of sister and
but he's moved
new brother-in-law.
They're like,
he's put them into like a tableau.
They're like kind of hugging.
Yeah, the bride,
contorted.
The sister's naked.
Yeah.
No, she wasn't earlier. She was in her wedding dress still. And Ella opens her mouth and there's something in her mouth. So she's like, what's that? So she pulls it out and it's the sock.
Yeah.
The old man's dirty sock's been stuffed in her mouth.
Yeah.
So Ranker's left her in a bit of a state.
She turns round.
Oh, this bit creeped me out.
He's fucking standing in the corner of the bed.
There was an old lady sitting in the chair as well.
Yeah, there was. Yeah,
She creeped me out. There was she turned around. First thing she sees is an old lady sitting in a chair. Yeah. So she turns back and Ranker's like standing on the bed. And he attacks. He goes for her. There's now lots of old people outside. So we see them. And she manages to escape. She jumps out of the window.
/stumbles out of the window.
Yeah, she's like, I can't get downstairs. There's old people everywhere. So she jumps out of the window and manages to survive. And just as she's running back to the main house, Lucas and Kim pull up in their car.
Yeah.
Because they're like, some shit's going down here. We need to go make sure the kids are okay, I guess. So she runs to them.
Then there's a really cool camera flip.
Yeah.
So because
just a great shot.
Ella kind of stumbles into the arms of Lucas and Kim.
Yeah.
So she's kind of on the ground, but then the camera sort of 360s round.
Yeah. So
we see the old people
upside down,
just coming out of the mist,
running
towards the house.
Yeah. That upside down shot's used in a lot of horror movies at the minute, and it is becoming a bit of a horror movie trope, but it really worked in this situation.
Yeah.
Because it was weird. So they all, Lucas and Kim and Ella, run into the house, barricade themselves in the house. Laura lets them in because obviously she'd locked the door. And Ella's like, where's Noah? And he's gone. He's not in his bed.
Yeah,
Laura's not checked up on him.
Oh, I thought she had. Oh no, she was very panicked. So I don't
She
know.
was, because she was trying to get Alex.
Or...
She was like, I need to go to Alex. I
Yeah.
need to make sure Alex is okay. But she had neglected to check on her brother. So was the grandpa. He's also now not sitting at the piano. We don't know where he's gone. So Ella's like, I know where there's a gun in this house. She goes into the library and she throws a few old books on the floor. Yeah, and there's a gun inside her old book. So she grabs the gun.
Everyone else is like, "Oh, how long have we had that?"
Yeah, we did not know that was there. So, and she goes back outside. She heads out the back door this time because the house is now surrounded by old people. And she points a gun at one of the old people, and she's like, "Where is my child?"
Yeah.
She's not messing around, this woman. Lucas goes out after her with the immortal line, "I'll be right back." Although he does end up coming back. And Ella then knocks out her own dad. Grandpa's out there.
Yeah.
And she points the gun at him, and she pistol whips him and knocks him on the floor. But then Laura and I'm getting all the names mixed up. Ella and Lucas are now outside. They hear a scream from inside, and so they run back in, and Reinke's in there with Laura and Kim.
Yeah.
And he kind of beckons in more because he's like, he brings in all the old people, doesn't he?
He does, because there's a gap in the. He's smashed his way in through a pantry window, and the door's kind of open, so he beckons them in.
And he goes for Laura.
No, he goes for Kim.
Does he go for Kim first? Sorry,
because she sells Laura out.
Yes, you're right. She does, because Ella hears screaming, so she goes back inside, and Laura's kind of being dragged away, and Kim says, "She's not my daughter."
Well, no, before that, when Reinke first goes to Kim, she looks him in the eyes and says, "I've never done it. I've helped you.
Yeah, I've always been good to you.
I'm
the nurse. Yeah.
I've always looked after you." And then she sort of nods her
head over to Laura.
Yeah.
And then she actually says to Ella, "She's not my daughter."
Yeah.
So she's basically saying to Ella, Laura's mum, that she's sold her out. Ella then actually fires the gun at one of the old people that's coming out and shoots one of them. And Lucas manages to beat one to death. And that person that Lucas was beating to death was begging to be saved.
Yeah.
But Lucas is beaten to death anyway. I'm talking through this, but there's a massive commotion going on now. There's old people everywhere. Everybody's fighting everybody. There's all sorts of shit going on. Reinke eventually knocks out Ella, goes to have a fight with Lucas, and then Ella comes up behind him and knocks him out.
Yeah, he's got a knife, so he slashes at
Lucas. He slashes Lucas' chest open, doesn't he?
Yeah, he knocks Laura out.
Yeah.
And then, Ella sort of jumps in
from behind and knocks him out. And the family have a bit of a reunion. The kids are... Laura and Lucas and the mum are back together anyway. Kim still looks jealous. She still doesn't look happy that this... Even with all this that's going on, she's still jealous of Ella and Lucas's relationship.
Yeah, they kind of barricade themselves in the kitchen, don't they? Yeah. And they tie Reinke to the cooker.
Yeah, time to the cooker handles. And they wake him up. He wakes up. And he spits right in Lucas's face.
Yeah.
It's grim.
It was grim.
Dirty old person phlegm. But they... Lucas and Ella are both like, "Where is Noah?" And he's not answering them. He's not going to tell them where it is.
Yeah.
Ella's not quite as polite as Lucas.
She sticks a fork in him.
She does. She stabs him with a fork.
He's not even done.
Then she pulls the gun on him. She points the gun right in his face. And he says to her, this is his first, I think it's his first and only line of the movie. He has some lines, but he finishes it with, "What do you see, a man or a beast?"
He says, "Just kill me."
Yeah.
I think because it's a bit of a fight between
the demon and the man.
Possession and the man behind the possession.
He actually says, "You don't know what we've seen.
Yeah.
Do it." He wants to die, but then just as before she's about to kill him, Noah walks in.
He's in the doorway.
He's in the doorway in his pajamas. It turns out the grandpa had come upstairs and taken Noah to the attic and locked him in the attic and told him to stay there. And then he went off to join the others, is what Noah says. And then Noah instantly, he seemed all right at that point.
Yeah, this was a bit...
suddenly has an asthma attack and passes out.
We need something more dramatic to happen. Have an asthma attack on cue.
Yes, so he does. He has an asthma attack. Remember, he needed an inhaler. He needed it earlier. He needs it again. Laura goes off and gets it. And they save him, I guess, with his inhaler, but he's still a bit tired and unconscious. So they're like, what we'll do, Lucas has this idea of, let's go to the living room and we'll just wait it out till morning.
Yeah.
And it'll all be fine in the morning. and then we can get out of here. Once it gets light, we can get out of here. But Kim, we can see in the background, is kind of planning something. She might as well be drumming her fingers together.
I mean,
she might as well have been doing this.
There's quite a few seconds where she just seems to have locked eyes with Reinke. And I was like, oh, is there some sort of passing of the possession happening? Which I don't think it was.
It wasn't that. It was just her thinking she's got a way here to get rid of Ella. Is basically she can get Ella out of her life at this point.
She's going loco.
She is.
Kim.
So then I got the impression, Riker, remember, is still tied to the oven. So I got the impression here that the old people needed a new leader, because we get introduced now to a lady who's now wearing the wedding dress that's covered in blood. And she seems to have taken charge. She approaches the house. She's got a real strut about her, as if she's the lady in charge now.
She's like his zombie bride.
Yeah. And somebody whispers something in her ear. And then we cut to Laura. Laura's asleep. She's managed to drop off.
Yeah.
Of course she has. But she has a dream that Grandpa kills Noah with a hammer.
Yeah.
So that's quite a graphic scene. He basically beats the kid to death with a hammer. She wakes up with a start. We find out the water also is off in the house now, as well as the electricity. Kim tells Ella that she admires her for...
Yeah, she follows her into the bathroom.
Yeah, she's kind of like passive-aggressive complimenting her. And she says, Lucas still says your name in his sleep because you abandoned him.
There was quite a clever misdirection here as well, because when Ella goes to the bathroom, the camera lingers on the fact that she's left the gun on the table.
Yeah.
And then you see Kim follow her, and you're like, if this was a normal sort of film that we watch, Kim's taking the gun in there.
Yeah.
But it's a total misdirection.
Yeah, it is. It's a MacGuffin.
She doesn't use it.
She doesn't. She's completely lost her mind at this point. She's completely gone from through jealousy more than anything else. She says, when you left, I even took care of your dad.
Yeah.
She's like, come on, give me something here.
And then she says, there was no problem with any of these old people till you got back.
Yeah, this all started when you came back. She's blaming Ella for what's going on. And then Kim basically bashes Ella's head in.
Again, the sound. She pops her on the head with this flashlight.
Yeah, she hits her with a flashlight and drags her outside to the porch and leaves her on the front porch unconscious. She isn't unconscious for long. She wakes up quite quickly. She looks up and she can see all the old people are still out there. Yeah. But she can see Grandpa, and he just puts his finger to his mouth and he's like, shh.
Yeah.
But she doesn't shh. She makes a fuckload of noise and tries to get back in the house. She screams. She's banging on the door. Lucas is like, who's banging on the door? So he comes to investigate, and Kim swallows the door key, or tries to swallow the door key. She's just stood there
with the key in her hand. Yeah. So it's not like she's tried to hide what she's done.
No, but then as soon as Lucas tries to grab it, she puts it in her mouth and tries to swallow it. Lucas grabs it out of her. He manages to unlock the door. He tries to drag Ella back in. She gets dragged away.
They have a tug of war with Ella. I thought we were doing the whole...
David in Shaun of the Dead. Me too.
And Dawn of the Dead pulled apart, guts everywhere. But that's not what happened.
This in the film that I thought we were getting. That's what would have happened. Yeah. This isn't the film I thought we were getting. So she gets dragged away. Lucas and Laura are now getting attacked through the door because there's all these old people trying to get in at the same time. And Laura has this idea to get the fire extinguisher and blast all these old people in the face with not with the fire extinguisher itself, with the shit that comes out of the fire.
Set it off.
Set it off, yeah.
But as she does this, which does... there's a lot happening here at once.
Yeah, it's very chaotic.
So they're trying to cause this distraction so they can get Ella back inside.
Or at least shut the door.
Lucas is holding the door open, but he is also being stabbed by the glass-wielding old people.
Noah's screaming his head off in the background. It's all kicking off.
And Kim kind of just walks off.
Yeah, she walks upstairs on her own. And she does not stop. She walks upstairs, she walks to the window, and she just jumps out of it. Well, she basically falls out of this window.
Yeah.
In an apparent suicide bid, I guess?
Suicide / a hint of she's trying to help them.
Do you think that's what it was? I had that impression as well, but I wasn't sure.
She distracted the zombies and they went... The old people, and they all then
zombie movie.
Left Ella and went and devoured...
Yeah, because the next time we see her, the old people have got Kim. She's very much battered and bruised because she just jumped out of a window. And they slice her throat in front of Lucas, which gives him the distraction to grab Ella and bring her back inside. But they don't manage to lock the door. They overpower Lucas and they all get in the house.
So they have to barricade themselves in like the next room.
Yeah, the library. I call it the library. There's books all over the wall.
But Lucas is not in a good state because, as I mentioned, he has been stabbed many times.
Stabbed many, many times. The old people then start a fire.
Yeah.
They grab some petrol from somewhere,
where's the
pour
fire?
it under the door, and start a fire. And Lucas then dies.
Yeah.
This is the end of
Sat in a
Lucas.
chair.
He
That's
sat in
it.
a chair and just dies in front of his kid. And Laura kind of takes charge. Laura's like, we need to find this underground tunnel.
Oh, remember that tunnel? And fortunately, it's in the exact room that they're in.
Yeah, it was a bit of plot armor, wasn't it? But Ellen knew Laura says we need to find where this tunnel is, and Ellen knows exactly where it is. So she moves the desk out of the way,
Which
pulls
makes
the
sense
rug up.
because she's lived there for all her life.
She moves the desk out of the way, pulls the rug up, and they go into this tunnel. And while they're going into this tunnel, a load of flaming old people jump after them.
They do. Yeah.
Which is like, shit, this is getting real now. And then there's a tunnel chase. Basically, Noah's in front, Laura's behind.
Quite nice
Ella's
tunnel to
behind
start with.
Yeah,
but
starts
then it
off
turns
nice,
into an actual just tunnel.
yeah,
through
mud
the earth.
tunnel through the earth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Noah's leading the way. Laura's following. Ella's following Laura. The kids manage to get away. Ella does not. Ella gets pulled back.
Yeah.
It was quite a creepy scene again.
Was not expecting her to
No,
to
go.
die.
She's done.
Yeah.
So, and it's quite creepy because you can see it from her point of view in this mud tunnel, and she just sort of gets dragged backwards.
Yeah.
And it's like that's the end of her. Never see her again. She says, "I love you" as she's getting dragged back. But the kids manage to get to the cottage. Noah says, "No, he can't breathe again. He's having another asthma attack."
He's sick.
But then Laura's phone starts buzzing. She's had a phone on her the whole time.
Yeah. No, but it wasn't. There was no signal.
There was no signal. There was no signal in
established.
the house. That was established. But when they got to the cottage, obviously there was some signal in the cottage, and a state of emergency is declared. One of these state of emergency texts has come through, or quite a few of them have come through, and also she's had some missed calls from Alex.
Yeah.
So she calls Alex back. He says she can't really hear him. It's all broken up. It's all he's obviously running or being driven somewhere as well. But what she does hear is the words.
They both have enough of a broken conversation to work out both sets of their parents are dead.
Yes. And she hears the words, "Go to the monument."
Oh, I thought he said go to the water, but...
I thought, no, I'm sure he says
maybe,
monument.
yeah.
It's where they went earlier anyway. And then her phone dies. They go to leave. Noah and Laura go to leave. She knows where she's got to go now.
Yeah.
So they go to leave. And when they open the door, their grandpa's standing on the porch.
Yeah.
They don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy. They've got no idea. So she pulls the gun on him. And he kind of looks at her and then looks up to the side next to her.
Yeah.
So she turns to see what he's looking at, and Reinker's there, and he grabs her and
He
beats
knocks her out again
Knocks
for the
her out
second
again.
time, I think.
Yeah, he
in
does.
This movie.
Yeah. So she's then on the ground.
And
He's on top of
her with a
Grandpa's
knife.
standing up on the porch, watching all of this. Noah's in the doorway screaming again. This kid does so much screaming in this film, and he can't really overpower her because he's an old man. So, then she starts singing the family song.
He's about to cut her throat.
Yeah, he is. He has got a knife at her throat, and she starts singing the family song, which we heard earlier on when they were all dancing to it.
Yeah.
Noah joins in, and they're both singing now. And suddenly, the grandpa picks the gun up from the porch floor where it had fallen earlier, and shoots Reinker in the head.
He does, and there's at the same time, or just before, or it might be just after, I don't know. There's a voiceover from Alex,
Yeah,
and as they're singing, he says, "Remember the curse," or something like that. You know, those who try to keep families together are safe. Those that break them are cursed.
yeah. So the grandpa is not cursed.
Or, like you say, he's fighting.
Or he's managed to fight it to.
Well,
keep
and
the
I think that's
family
why Reinker doesn't kill Laura, because she's fairly innocent. She didn't break this family apart.
together. Right. Okay. So yeah, he shoots Reinker in the head. They take the gun from him because they're still not 100% sure. And he says, "I could never hurt you. I love you both so terribly much." And they all hug. The two kids and the grandpa hug, and they run to the monument. And I think it's Alex is still doing his voiceover at this point.
Yeah.
And he's like, and eventually he says, "This is going to happen all over the world very soon." And he picks them up in his speedboat. Maybe it was an island then, because he picks them up in a speedboat.
Maybe.
And Could young people have warded off the fear old people have felt for them for years? He then says he couldn't. It's Grandpa that's doing the voiceover at this point.
They all have a go.
Yeah.
Alex talks, Grandpa talks, and Laura talks
Yeah.
all through this final scene.
Yeah. And he says, could old people have warded off the fear... Could young people have warded off the fear old people felt for them? I can't remember that far back, but there was a time. And then the film ends. What did you think to old people, Nick?
It's the best film we've seen this season.
Do you know what? It is. It's great.
It's really
really
good.
great. It's a proper horror film.
I think it's the best horror film we've seen for a long time.
It might be the best horror film we've ever seen.
Like outright horror.
Scary horror movie. Because it is a scary horror movie. It's a zombie movie. Just done in a slightly different way.
I do think
it's more than that.
It has a couple of issues.
Yeah, there are a few issues in it.
I feel like the bit at the end with the whole, curses don't affect people who don't break families apart. I don't know if it was a translation thing, but I kind of felt like you've changed the curse from what I thought it was at the start. Because your words at the start just say
it just affects old
people.
Yeah, and it seems to be happening all over the world.
And now, for somehow she's safe because she tried to keep the family. I was just like, oh, that feels like it's new information at this late.
Yeah, it was a throwaway line that didn't need to be there.
Yeah, because it made me think that
because all the way through we'd seen Grandpa trying to fight this curse and eventually beats it. And I think that's all I needed from it. I don't think I needed any explanation of, he can beat the curse and he has beaten the curse.
But look, it's so foreboding and creepy. Before the shit starts going down, it's just like, I liked it because it was creepy. I like the direction. I like the atmosphere. And then, I mean, especially the high point for me is that is that 10 minutes where, this is about to get going. Yeah. And then the sort of attack in the bridal suite is just
marvelous.
It's great.
It is. It's really great.
Disgusting.
Yeah. The attack in the bridal suite that kicks it off and the attack in the hospital on those two nurses. Both of those two scenes
they're the highlight.
Off, they are the highlight.
They're the high point of this movie.
Yeah, they really are.
For me, it's just. I think I'm a bit like you. My expectations were it might be a bit of a tongue in cheek.
Yeah,
and it's not. It's totally played for creepiness.
Yeah, there's no laughs in this. It's not played tongue in cheek. It's not played for laughs. It's a proper horror movie.
Yeah,
and it is quite scary.
Without having jump scares in it.
Yeah, I don't think there's a single
scare.
jump scare. Maybe once when he's on the bed when she peels those curtains back.
Yeah.
But even that's not that much of a jump scare. This is just a foreboding.
Because it relies on the presence of the old people.
Yeah.
And the sort of creepiness of them and the atmosphere. And again, there's some big themes here in sort of forgetting our old people, and leaving them to
that's the story
die and live the last few years as forgotten people.
I think that's the story this director's trying to tell, the writer-director's trying to tell, and I think he's done it very well.
Yeah, they're pissed off.
Yeah, why would they not be pissed off? And it's just like, don't leave your old people behind because they're going to come and murder you if you do. That's the story he's trying to tell. It's like, don't abandon the old. They've got something.
But look, and this is a gimmick.
I'd be terrified if I walked out tonight and there's an old person in the street. Put it that way.
It's a bit of a gimmick having that and then going, oh, all right, possession. Yeah. Fine. But it is fine for this movie.
It is. It works. There's no other way you can do it.
I was quite taken with this.
I was as well. I was like, this is much better than I was expecting.
I was invested.
I thought this would be one of those movies that's terrible that we can just laugh at all the way through and have a really good laugh on the episode, just pulling it apart. Yeah. But what we've actually found is a really, really good little horror movie. And
it's a little hidden gem, I thought.
It is. I think you're right.
Going back to circling back to the start and saying, it's a 5.0 on IMDb. I do feel that my perception of that is if it's anything like mine, people might think, "Oh, this might be a cheeky little number."
Yeah.
Oh, whoa. Why is that guy like spewing gunk over that naked woman who?
I think people
he's
probably,
trying
like
to
you say,
possibly rape.
I think you're right. I think you've gone in. People have gone in expecting a tongue-in-cheek, silly horror movie, and what they've actually got is actually a really creepy, spooky, scary horror movie.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's really good. 5.0 is too low.
Yeah,
this is up there, late sixes for me.
Yeah, so it's gone past the cleanse on my stream table.
Yeah, we're having separate stream tables this year.
Not my fault. You've ruined it after 2 weeks.
I haven't ruined it.
This is.
What's the best thing about this film, Nick?
It's the presence and it's the performance of the guy who plays Reinker. I think it's just so creepy.
All of the old people in this film are really creepy.
They are, but he's
the way it's written and directed is really good. But yeah, that guy's performance is brilliant.
Yeah.
What would you change about it? I'd maybe want a couple more kills.
I think this is probably budgetary issues. If we saw a bit more of the chaos in the village, maybe that scene where Lucas and Kim are sort of they see one thing happen and there's a little bit of a car on fire, and it's like I think I know it's a tough one because it will be because of the budget available, but if they've got to fight their way sort of back to the farmhouse. Yeah, I think
that's fair.
That just probably adds another layer to this.
Yeah,
but that is quite a minor.
I really like the subplot of Kim's jealousy taking over as well. I thought that was a really nice little.
And that might be my other one. Is did that switch flick too quickly? But
she just went insane.
Yeah, but
literally straight away. Yeah, but you saw it coming.
Yeah, there was
fewer scenes that she was in. You knew she was going to, and then she did. So I have no issue with that. That's a runtime thing.
Yeah.
Cool. Shall we talk stream table?
Sure. I think we've kind of already done it. But,
I think we have.
We're only 3 films in. This is the best film we've seen out of the 3 of them.
Yeah, it is.
Done.
It's a very much a bottom of the stream film. It's right in our wheelhouse of what we want to see on this show, because it is a little unknown German film that's actually really good.
Yeah. Also, by far the best German film we've seen on this show.
What was the other?
What was it called?
What was it about?
The woman who kept when time stopped pausing. It was only last season. 8 Remains.
Oh yeah,
was it
God,
8 Remains?
Yes.
Is that what it was called?
Yes, yeah, it was. Yeah. Yes, God, yes, it's 100 times better than that. Jesus. As much as I did enjoy The Giver, I think this is more our type of thing.
That's a better movie.
I think I think it is, and I didn't think I'd say that this quickly.
Sorry, Jeff Bridges. 3 weeks, 3 different films at the top of the stream.
Yeah, 3 very good films as well. Well, not very good, but 3 good films.
3 films. I have not
hated.
I've had issues with each film.
Yeah,
but I've enjoyed all 3 films.
We've had a strong start to season 8, haven't we?
Yeah, there's been something to like in all 3 films.
Agreed. Right, should we pick next week's?
Yeah.
We're going for another monster episode again. I've got even less time to edit this week, so it's going to be fun. What do you want from next week?
Drama.
My phone's not working. There we go. I'm going to press the button. Are you ready?
Yes.
It has picked a movie called Double World. Any ideas?
No, none whatsoever.
No, nor me. Do you want to know?
Yeah, I'd love to.
It is a Chinese movie.
Okay.
Heading over to China. According to IMDb, it is an action-adventure fantasy movie.
Oh.
From 2020.
Okay.
Do you want the synopsis?
Yeah, I'd love to have that from you.
Okay, I will give it to you now. In a fictional universe comprising 10 nations, seeing the neighbouring country become more and more powerful, a warlord organises a competition to reveal the best warrior. Hearing the news, Dong Yilong, a valiant young villager, decides to take up the challenge despite the doubts of his village, so begins his journey.
Oh, okay.
It's all about Dong Yilong. Chinese fantasy movie, Nick. What do you reckon?
Yeah. I'm game.
Me too.
I'm game.
Cool.
I mean, look, we one of my favourite movies we've ever done on this show was a Chinese movie.
Go on.
Which was the Scissors Paper Rock movie.
Yes, Animal World.
Animal World. And this is Double World.
This is Double World. No animals, but double the fun. So yeah, we'll do that one, shall we?
Yeah.
Cool. Go out and watch Double World. And in the meantime, check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Letterboxd. Our username is @BOTS_podcast on all three of those. If you want to drop us an email, our email address is bottomofthestream@gmail.com, and our website is bottomofthestream.com. On the website, you will find every episode we've ever recorded, all the stream tables, loads of other cool stuff, and you can even get some merch if you want to buy a Bottom of the Stream
dartboard.
Why not? With our faces on.
Sure.
Why not? So yeah, do all of that and then head over to patreon.com/bottom of the stream. On there, for a couple of quid every month, you will get early access to episodes, you will get bonus episodes, you will get a newsletter that Nick writes every month, and you will get a wild card if you come in at the top level, which means you can pick the film that we watch the following week. And there's also a bit of a competition around that. So wildcards are back in play, everybody. We're 3 episodes in, nobody's played one yet.
Yeah.
Get playing your wildcards, your Patreons. Then, when you've done all of that, head into Discord. In the Discord, we have wonderful chats with wonderful people. There's loads of cool stuff going on. We've got a watch-along that would have happened by now because we're definitely doing it this time.
Yep.
We've cancelled it like 4 times, but we're definitely going to do that. We do watch-alongs, we do games, we do quizzes, we do all sorts of cool stuff. And there's loads of people who just will talk to you about films and movies and TVs.
Just make friends.
Just make friends. Come into the Discord and make some friends. The Discord link will be on the bottom of the show notes.
If you can spare a few minutes, please consider leaving us a rating and a review anywhere you can review or rate podcasts. It really helps us. It helps get our little show in front of more eyes and therefore in more ears. And that's all we want to do. Build a nice little community.
Yep.
Spread the word. More people need to know about old people.
They do. More old people need to know about Bottom of the Stream.
We're on Spotify, Podchaser, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, iHeartRadio, anywhere you can get podcasts.
Literally anywhere you can get podcasts. And if we're not on where you can get podcasts, let us know and we'll get on there.
Yeah. We're keen to get on.
We are keen to get on as many podcast apps as we can.
And they keep popping up, don't they?
Yeah, I had an email from one the other day, the new one. It's like, claim your show now. I'm like, I seem to be doing this every week at the minute. Yeah, there's thousands of podcast apps. So yeah, check us out on any of them.
Good. And we'll be back next week for The Wave on Monday.
And the movie show on Thursday. Nick's stealing my lines here. So yeah, come and listen to both of them.
Because next Thursday we are going to talk about Double World.
Cheers.
Bye.